Damn, Ingenious made the beat? Man, I was in a meeting one day and I had a coworker that reached out to me and was like, man, how you handle yourself in this meeting. Like, I wish that I could have that kind of confidence when I go into a meeting and
Wow.
feel that confident in making decisions on stuff that may or may not work. Like, you don't even
Right.
know if it's gonna work. I was like, you're right, I don't know if it's gonna work. It's like I gave my best judgment on what I think is gonna be best in this particular situation. So
Right.
that's where we're at right now. So I was like, again, the confidence comes from just trial and error and not being afraid to fail. And I think that's where the confidence comes from.
And that's a tough thing because fear of failure is real.
Super real, right?
It's too real. So it's like, man, if I have that fear, then I'm not even going to make that first move because I don't want to mess up. If I do it, it has to be perfect. Circle back to that
Ooh,
perfection. So it's all real, man.
it's super real. Super real. Well, I think we just got into an amazing segue, so we might as well just go ahead and jump right into
Let's
it.
jump
So,
on in.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, again, welcome, family, to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. I am, of course, your host, the casual one, Coach Steve. Join with me, as always, the professor, Coach Ryan. How we doing, brother?
You're doing good, man. Always. It's a great day for some positivity. So let's go on and give it
Man,
to the people, man.
you know it. You know it. And you know what? Since we already have alluded to it in our pre-show talk really quick,
Mm-hmm.
let's go ahead and just tell the fans what we are really getting into today.
Talking about confidence.
Mm.
I didn't say that strong enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We talk about confidence.
Yeah, you want to put some bass in your voice. When you talk about confidence, man, you gotta
Yeah.
make sure you put some bass in your
Put
voice.
some bass in your voice. Say it
There
with your
you go.
chest.
Exactly. So I know you usually throw our coach's corner at us. I'm gonna steal it today because
sir.
I heard a really, really good quote that was given to me by a fan of ours, a
Okay.
fan of the show.
Shout out to the fan.
Shout out to the fans. Shout out to the fans. Mr. Mark Dodd, one of my dispatchers, actually dropped this quote on me, and I was like, you know what? I gotta use this one for the pod.
Yeah.
Gotta use this one for the pod because when we talk about confidence, this is part of it, right? Sometimes as mentors, as coaches, as managers, supervisors, whatever, right? We see a lot more of that person's good upside than they may see of themselves, right? So I'm paraphrasing when I say this to everyone, but the quote that I was given was, if you can't see the confidence in yourself, see that confidence in yourself the way that I see it in you.
Okay. All right.
So pretty much just ultimately, if you can't see it yourself, if you can't envision it, then understanding from my perspective, like understand how much confidence I have in you to actually make it, to actually do whatever task or whatever goal or whatever mission that you have in life, right?
Yeah. Dope,
So
man.
I thought that was a really cool concept.
Absolutely, because it plays into the fact that whoever that coach is or whoever that leader is, if their relationship is strong enough with that person, then they're going to start to believe what that person is saying to them.
So what you're saying is that confidence can be cultivated?
It can be cultivated. I don't know if it can be completely given, but it can be cultivated. Because if you trust me and you trust what I say, then if I'm talking about you and something you don't see, you might start to believe it because
100%.
you trust me. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Again, I think it's understanding the nature of like confidence And like the reason behind the absence of confidence for a lot of people, I think it's a big portion of it has to do with just being, and I think we talked about this on numerous pods, but being self-aware and self-assured.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think a lot of people miss that portion. It's like they're not really self-assured in their ability to do whatever it is they're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah. And you see that on both sides of the spectrum. You see it in people who have all the ability in the world and they are just not able to see it for themselves. And then you have people who lack that ability and think that more of themselves than they should. So that self-awareness goes hand in hand on both sides.
100%, bro. 100%. So today in our pod, we're going to touch on a couple things. Obviously, this is all going to be centered around confidence.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, we're going to figure out, can confidence be learned? Right? We're going to explore the learnability of confidence.
Learnability.
Right? Learnability. Go ahead and put it in my Webster. Down. I'll have to go and find out if that's actually in Webster right now.
Nah, they need to put it in there tomorrow.
We're going to understand the lack of confidence that people have. Right? We're going to delve. There we go. There we go. Delve into those factors that hinder people's growth around confidence. And then we're going to talk about steps to gain that confidence, right?
Yeah.
So you have that confidence so you can do what it is that you are looking to do.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about, at the end of this pod, we're going to kind of talk about what mentors, what coaches like us can do to help foster that kind of behavior and foster that kind of mindset where they have a self-belief.
Yeah. 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 It has to be self.
So, Coach Ryan, you alluded to this earlier. You made the comment that it can be cultivated. So, can confidence be learned?
I believe so, because if I have a leader that I trust, the more that they trust me and put me in positions to grow, to safely fail, to safely learn, then I think that confidence can be cultivated. But if I have this fear of failure, or if I have this fear that if I make a mistake, you're going to pull me out the game, you're going to snatch the rug from under me, there's no way my confidence can safely grow.
Right. Yeah. And you said a key word, bro. You said a very key word, safely.
Yes.
In a safe environment, right?
Yeah.
Where you're able to cultivate that belief system of you can do it, right? It's starting to empower that person.
Right.
Where they still have, it's almost like going bowling, right? When you bowling with the kids and you got the bumper bowls up.
Yeah.
Right? You go ahead and throw the ball down. You may not hit a pin. It may still go in the gutter some kind of way. If you my kids, you'll definitely figure out a way to get it in the gutter for sure. But you still have the ability to stay in the lane, right? To stay in the pocket.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about situations like, from a perfectionist mindset, just say you have to write this 100-page paper, but you're not typing it. You have to write it in pen.
Felt one of them dip ink pens.
One of them dip ink pens. You can't make no mistakes because this paper, you only get one chance to write it, and you got to get an A on it,
bro.
So you can't brainstorm. You can't make a mistake. You writing in pen, 100 pages. But I think that's the type of pressure perfection puts on you, fear of failure puts on you, to where it's like, I might as well not even write it because I know I'm gonna mess up. But in a perfect situation, it's like, man, you got a pencil or you on the computer. You're like, hey, take as long as you need, do whatever research you need to, make as many mistakes as you need to. When you're done, when you feel good about it, then you can turn it in to me. And I think sometimes we get put in those situations where we just feel like we can't mess up. So it really shackles us, man.
100%. And man, you gave me another good another good story time. I was helping my son with some math homework because he's got all the advanced classes now because he's advanced. So So he's testing dad, having to go back and like remember all of this stuff.
Right.
So, he was working on a problem, talking about area and length, width, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And one of the things that my son has a very quick tendency of doing is, if it's something that he knows, he can just spit out the answer right away, and that's just it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't show his work. He don't like writing it down, like putting all the information down. And sometimes I think that goes for a lot of us. We see the work that's required.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a lot, right? Just like you said, that pressure, right? And I told my son, I was like, listen, man, if you wrote this all out, the next problem that you're trying to solve is just a continuation of this. It's like, if you understood that, you'd have more confidence to go through the rest of this stuff and wouldn't be asking me for help and getting frustrated that you don't understand it.
Yeah.
All that frustration comes from you not willing to put the work in and not really willing to accept the fact that you didn't do it.
Right. But when you have that work visible there, it's an example. It's an example that you can keep going back to, keep, building on. So yeah, if we don't have anybody to properly guide us to that example, and then if we don't write it out and then go back to it for the next problems, we're going to find ourselves in that consistent loop of inadequacy or not building that confidence, not being able to, build up the way that we need to. So man, I think that's the perfect example. Like, once you solve that problem, make sure you solve it out, write it out. So the next time that problem comes up, I got the example already written.
And you're good to go. And that takes us to another good point again of the importance of having that mentor or going back to those positive thoughts and fostering that positive behavior, because those things are super important to your growth and continue to build that confidence in yourself.
Yeah. The right mentor has the power to completely build or completely destroy you.
100%.
Completely, man. I've heard Charles Barkley say, like, I've had coaches who couldn't give me confidence, but they could take it away in an instant. So it's like, I'm working hard, but you say, man, Charles, that was a terrible shot, or you're not really helping us right now. Anything like that. I think confidence is so easily broken down. It's broken down a lot easier than it is to build it up.
100%.
So the right mentor has to be wise enough to know how to build you up, but also know how to reconstruct you where he's not breaking you down. He's just moving parts around.
Oh, that was key right there. That's clutch right there, bro. That was clutch. So yes, the right mentor can can know how to reconstruct you, not break you down, reconstruct you. That's the difference, right?
Yeah. Because a breakdown is dismantling. It's like, look, we're done here. There's
no need for it anymore.
No need for it. But reconstruction is, I'm gonna take this piece and let's move it over here. Recycle. All right, now let's rehash that. Let's recycle this part. Okay, we used it over here. Now let's move it to a different area and see how that works. And again, I say a mentor, they can't just want to be a mentor. You have to be equipped as a mentor to be able to guide somebody.
Man, we can talk. That's like a whole nother pod, bro. We might have to put that one on the books, man.
Are you qualified to be a mentor?
Man, we might have to. I'm gonna have to take the test, man. I'm gonna have to take the test. Make sure that I'm qualified. But let's go to understanding the lack of confidence. I think you hit the nail on the head when we talked about. You used the example of having a 100-page paper to write, which I remember many a night. Staying up at Benedictine University and
nightmares, man.
Cranking out papers at 2-3 o'clock in the morning for a 6 a.m. class.
Had 3 months to do it. We're gonna wait till the last minute.
Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be the best paper ever.
Best paper ever.
Confidence. So I think, like you said, you hit the nail on the head when you said, again, writing a 100-page paper. Again, that fear of failure. A lot of people just tend to not want to do stuff because, again, I don't want to fail at this. I don't want to be the new guy. I don't want to be the rookie. I don't want to, I don't want to be the first one to make the mistakes, right? I don't want to be called out. I know a lot of people that are handicapping themselves from massive amounts of growth.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. And not wanting to fail is an obstacle that most people can't get over by themselves.
Can you explain that a little bit more, sir?
If I don't have the confidence to believe in myself and I have a fear that I'm going to fail, somebody has to be able to pull me up. Somebody has to be able to see the best in me and want to guide me over that hump. Because obviously I'm not getting over that hump by myself. So somebody's got to be able to be like, look, I see it. You can do it. Come on, let me work with you. Again, let me give you a safety net. So when you fall, you're not hurting yourself. You see the example.
When.
Oh, when. When. Not if. When. So when you fail, you can safely fall, reevaluate, see the example that was laid out, and now let's restructure on how we're going to do this again.
Man, super powerful to build somebody up and breaking somebody down. And it's funny when you said that people put themselves in that trap. Yeah. People put themselves in those situations and start to feel like the woe is me. So they start to negative talk and down talk themselves and put themselves in situations where it's like you're drastically impacting your confidence level.
Yeah.
Where you don't even know that all this negative talk about yourself is how much it plays a factor into your self-growth and confidence.
Absolutely. So as a leader, how do you combat that negative talk of somebody on your team or somebody in your group? Like, how do you counteract that?
For myself, when I hear somebody on the team talking negative about themselves, like, really destroying themselves, that's when I always like to go back to finding those small wins. Like, I think people don't put enough stock in the small wins.
Absolutely.
So I've had a situation. I'll give you a situation that I've encountered in the office.
Yeah.
I had a dispatcher in another state, which I'm glad I'm saying another state, so that way we don't call out anybody. But another state where they knew that they were having issues getting to where they needed to get to, and would consistently make comments like, yeah, I'm just not understanding this. I'm not gonna get it. Like, I'm gonna get fired. Like, there's no helping me, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. What I did was, let's find the 1, 2, maybe 3 calls that you got that, that were great.
Yeah.
And let's start stacking on these wins. Like, yesterday, you had a really good call calling this particular customer. You did this really, really well. I saw the notes. That was really good. You got the tech out within, a short amount of time. And for those who don't know, I work for a commercial refrigeration company. So we work with service technicians across the United States. And shout out to another one of our fans, Courtney House, reached out to me, Bogart Inc. Our tattoo specialist, right there.
Tat him up.
Yes, sir. He hit me up and gave me some real good feedback on the pod. So definitely shout out to him, because this was another request too from him. So, but yeah, just trying to find those small wins and stacking on those wins every day to give that person a little bit more confidence in what they've been, where they're not seeing those wins, right? They're focusing in on all the negative things and all the stuff that's been going wrong. So let's start figuring out all those things that you are doing right. And let's start stacking on those things and putting them in perspective for you a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Refocusing is absolutely critical.
Absolutely.
The more you're looking at the negative, the more you think about something, I learned this. It's called CBI, cognitive behavior interventions. But it's like the more you think a certain way, the more you're going to feel that way. And the more you feel that way, the more your actions are going to reflect how you feel.
100%.
So it's like think negative, feel negative, start acting negative. Think positive, feel positive, act positive. So
it's like a chain reaction.
Man, redirect that focus, man. It's vital.
Now, what do you say? I've always said this. I've said this for a very long time, and for our fans out there, they don't know. Me and Coach Ryan go way back, like
way back.
Like, yeah,
Allen,
this is
Jager Hall
back,
Valentine.
Right. So yeah, we go way back. One thing that I've always noticed about you, Ryan, is that you always have a positive attitude, an upbeat, positive attitude. The world could literally be on your shoulders and nobody would know.
Yeah.
How do you, and I've heard this from multiple people. I've been asked this again, and you've actually brought this up in a previous pod that we had.
Yeah.
Like, why do you like walk around chipper all the time? And like, how are you so happy about everything? Or why are you so positive about everything? And what keeps a smile on your face? And what keeps you positive and keep you going?
Yeah. I would say, again, kind of like that chain reaction of wanting to produce a certain way. So I want to act a certain way. So I don't want to act falsely. I don't want to be an actor, but I want my actions to be a certain way.
There you go.
So then I want to make sure that I'm feeling whatever that is. So then it starts with the thoughts that I have. So again, if I'm thinking a certain way, I'm going to feel that way. And if I'm feeling that way, I'm going to do those things. I'm like, man, it could be a lot going on, but you know what? It's going to get better. It has to get better. Okay. I start to feel better. All right. You know what? Let me walk with my head up. Let me put my shoulders back. I mean, this is something I like literally had to practice when I was probably 8th grade, 9th grade, getting into high school. I really had to look myself in the mirror and say, put your shoulders back, hold your head up. Don't walk around slouch with your head, because I would feel like that. I didn't have the confidence to keep my head up, but I had to actively practice. Like, look, I want to look confident. Well, I need to feel confident. Well, man, maybe you should start thinking confident, and just take that chain reaction. So now when things come, it's like, look, it might not be all right, but it's going to get there. How 100%. Can I make it get there? What can I do to affect? Because if I feed into the negativity, it only makes it worse.
100%.
So, man, I have to redirect my focus, redirect my energy, redirect my thoughts.
And the crazy thing is that you learn how to do that for yourself. I know some people that can do this for other people, but don't know how to do it for themselves. And that is super detrimental to trying to help other people get to that other side, right?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you how to get out the hole, but I can't get out myself.
Bro, what are we doing? What are we doing right now? Man. On the flip side of that, we were talking about kind of some of the things that hold people back. And I want to touch on one other thing that I think holds people back from getting out of that rut and not having that confidence is that I think a lot of people fall into that comparison trap.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Most people are visual. They see outcomes or they see scenarios, they see situations, but they don't know what's going on underneath the surface. They don't know how much work that person has put in to get where they're at. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So if you're in a rut and you see somebody who's not, man, ask them, how did you get there? Don't just look at them and say, oh, my life ain't like theirs. So now I'm, it's like, man, I'm mad. Your life looks great. I want to fight you now. Like, right. It's like you have to dig deeper into beyond what you see. And I think 100%. That's a big thing about confidence too. Like, it's beyond what you see. It's a conversation. It's a perspective. It's a scenario. It's learned behavior. It's so many things that come with it just beyond you know, what you see, because there are a lot of people who we think possess confidence and they really don't.
It's false confidence, right?
False. And all the things that you see is just propping them up. But if you remove that stuff, all that confidence goes away. So
100%.
yeah, you definitely got to dive in and not just be caught by what you think you see.
Yeah. All the shiny things.
Shiny things, man.
That's again, I think we talked about this in Putting in the Work pod. You see all of these shiny things and you go for the shiny things, but you don't know how much work is required to get to that side or get to that shiny thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you even want to put in that work.
A lot of people fail to want to do that at all, right?
No, you know, you see how much work goes into it. You're like, you know what? It's not for me. And that's okay. But don't just be that person who, you know, again, puts in that negative talk and negative self-talk based on an equation that you haven't even written out yet.
Man, you know? I'm gonna give you personal experience right here. This pod would not be started if I didn't have the confidence to be like, man, we gotta organize it, we gotta plan it, we gotta do all of this to schedule it, and do it and edit it, and like, yeah, man, it's a lot that goes behind it. But the thing that fills the cup back up, right, is the response that I'm getting back from everybody. So again, shout out to the fans, from everybody that's reached out, gave us some very good critical feedback on the pod, big ups to you guys. Definitely go ahead, keep smashing that like button and subscribe and hit that bell, so that way when you know exactly when we pop in a new episode off. So
man, real quick, speaking of confidence, man, a few years ago, I probably wouldn't even been doing this.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, talking a microphone?
You want me to talk to who?
People? And put words out there in the universe for people to hear me? No.
Same.
Yeah.
But look at us now.
Yeah, headsets and microphones.
You still sound a little apprehensive.
Thanks,
bro.
Steve. Thanks, Buford.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Giving me this safety net to fall.
There you go, bro. That's what it's about. Iron sharpens iron, bro. Iron sharpens iron. So let's segue into, again, the role of a coach. Building confidence.
Yeah.
That's our jobs, right? As coaches, as mentors, as guides, as support. It's our job to provide that guidance and support. It's our job to offer those individuals that insight that they may be missing, the advice that they are seeking, the encouragement that they wish that they had, right? Again, somebody said something that was super powerful to me a couple days ago. I was doing this one meeting and he reached out to me and he was like, man, sometimes like I get on these calls and I just don't have it in me to have a conversation. But then I hear you and how you talking and how positive you are. He was like, it kind of makes me want to like get into it a little bit more. So and he's a tough nut to crack, bro. Like he's not somebody that's just gonna be, you know, you can't pull on his heartstrings. Like he's ice cold. He's cooler than the other side of the pillow, but he ice cold, man. But he's one of the coolest guys I've got a chance to chop it up with. So but again, providing that perspective and a valuable resource of wisdom and inspiration for that person.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it earlier, that pour. A mentor, a coach, a leader has to have something to pour of substance. You know, so it takes a lot of work on that person's end before they even get into that space to lead, to guide, to give wisdom. They have to be sharpening themselves. They have to be working on themselves. They have to be poured into. They have to be rested. They have to be read up, you know. So in order to give something of substance to someone, you got to self-care. You got to take care of what you need to for you. And then you can share out with others because people need it. and whatever you are pouring is going to take hold to them, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make sure you pouring good stuff.
Yep, 100%. 100%. Identifying strengths and potential in people. You made this comment and this connection earlier in our conversation and saying you're putting people in positions to win. Obviously, that means that you understand that person's strengths and weaknesses probably better than they understand their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, why do you think it's important to ID those things for an individual? And how do you help the person that says, you don't know me?
Okay. I'll start with that point. Them saying that you don't know me, then that means that there's a lack of trust and connection in our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So they might not be a close person, like this might not be a mentor-mentee thing. This could be a boss and, employee type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still some level of cultivating that relationship enough to them to be able to trust me, at least as being a manager, a boss, a leader, something like that. To the point to where if I do say like, hey, you probably could have did XYZ, you know what? I don't like this dude, but he right. So it gets beyond, the
feelings,
and it gets into facts. So again, I think at some level, no matter what type of leadership structure it is, whether it's personal or just business, there has to be some type of relationship there where it's like, okay, even though we aren't best friends, I can take what you say as being solid because one, you're not trying to break me down. You're not trying to, demean me or, whatever you're saying it's on par.
right?
Okay, you've been consistent. Everything that you say is for productive purposes. So, okay, all right, I can take what you're saying. So if somebody was to say like, you don't know me, I would take that as, okay, I have to, in a sense, build our relationship up to the point to where they believe now that I know them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you can get to that point where you got some common ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, because the word, somebody said that you can't like plant seeds on top of the ground. You gotta dig a hole and then bury the seed. So it's like that relationship is at that point where if I drop a seed of knowledge, it's only sitting on top of the ground. I gotta try to dig up some more dirt before I can plant those seeds. So it's like, yeah, I got some work to do because I don't want to give you good wisdom and you not take it because you feel like I don't know you.
Right. And that's, that's twofold as well, because for the coach, for the mentor, for the manager, for the supervisor, for whoever that person is, right? They've got to be willing to dig. They've got to be willing to put in that work to understand that person. And a lot of I've seen it before where people, coaches, or I shouldn't say coaches, mentors, and I'm saying that in quotes because they say they're mentors, but they're not really willing to dig into that person and really find out what makes that person tick and what we can really do to help affect growth and change in that person.
Yeah, because that's real work, man, and a lot of people ain't got time for that.
Man,
they ain't got time for that. They want the prestige of saying like, oh yeah, I got mentees and I got people that look up to me, but it's a lot of work that goes into developing that relationship.
100%. They want the microwave meal, right?
Man,
microwave mac and cheese or oven mac and cheese.
Come on now,
all day long. We're not even having this conversation.
Not even close. Man, but then again, just imagine you just dropping dimes on a daily basis to this person and they fumbling it. They blowing it. Like after a while, you're gonna be like, you know what?
I'm done.
I'm gonna stop.
I'm mad.
I'm mad. But it would make me not want to keep wasting that. I'm not gonna cut you off, but I'm not gonna invest as much of these, I call them gems or these, dimes, because you blowing it.
Maybe I don't give you the dimes. Maybe we just drop you a couple pennies every once in a while.
Pennies. Let me see what you do with these Lincolns.
it goes back to another point that you made earlier. Again, all this stuff compounds. And you made the comment again, thinking positive, being positive, feeling positive. Like this, again, it's a full circle effect that happens.
Yeah.
Challenging or their self-limiting beliefs. So helping people overcome their own self-doubt. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't be in the position you're in. I can't do your job. I heard that so many times taking this role that I'm in currently as a dispatch manager.
Yeah.
I've heard this so many times from so many people that are like, I cannot and will not have your job.
Okay.
Why? Yeah. Well, you have to deal with everybody's problems all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Okay. Why is this not a problem for you?
Yeah.
Because I understand my gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm confident enough to understand what my gift is. And my gift has always been to be able to create.
Yeah.
And I've been able to create a department that has been able to lean and leverage on each other. I've been able to create an area, a safe place where everybody feels like we can make mistakes and Steve's got my back. He's not going to railroad me because he, because he's the boss, right?
Absolutely.
I want to see both sides. I remember being in the seat. I remember being a dispatcher. I remember being, there when it was mad cutthroat. Like, don't make a mistake. This might be your last. So I remember those days. But again, we've been able to grow. We've been able to cultivate a lot of really good people and be able to do a lot of really cool things. So when I hear people say that I don't want or I can't do your job, again, when I hear that, it's like that lack of confidence. It's like, well, why don't you have that confidence in yourself to be able to do those things or be able to achieve that piece?
Right. And I think that's when the leadership in you stands up, or the leadership in a quality mentor stands up and say, hey, we're not the same. So we can agree to that. But you can also do this effectively. We might not do it the exact same way, but I can show you how to effectively do what I do. And then you walk them through that process of enhancing their strengths to do the same job. So for you, it might be building people up and showing people, and for them, it might be paperwork or it might be computer work. But at the end of the day, you all are accomplishing the same goals of running that department.
100%.
So some people see it and say, if I can't do it the exact same way you do it, I can't do it. And that's not the case. That mentor just has to reconstruct it to their strength and not yours.
Like even the way that you you broke a lot of this down, like being able to reconstruct a person or reconfigure a person. Like I've heard this before. Again, it's like you use specific wording that make people understand the points. And again, it goes back to clear, concise communication.
Absolutely.
And I found myself in numerous meetings or numerous situations where I've even said, like, how would Ryan say this to somebody? How can I say this like Ryan so that they understand what I'm trying to say? Like really, truly understand what I'm trying to say so that they don't get their feelings hurt, because I'm not trying to hurt feelings, right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get them to understand where the gap is, where my confusion may be, right?
Yeah. Because as a mentor, you'll find yourself meeting them where they're at a lot more than they're gonna meet you where you're at.
Correct.
So you do have to kind of level down a little bit to pull them up, to get them to understand. Or again, like you said, be so delicate that they're getting a point without hurting their feelings. Because if you hurt their feelings, then that confidence starts to sink. So yeah, that's a tight rope, man. That's a tight rope.
That's one that I can tell you that you walk very well, sir. I've seen you in action actually do that to a lot of people. And I'm like, man, if I were to say that to that person, they probably would have immediately broke, like immediately. But the way that you phrase it, the way that you summarize it for them, so that again, you gave them a nice little ish sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And they were able to eat it and be like, you know what? I understand this. I understand this.
Man, I think it's a lot of empathy that I feel for people and situations and circumstances. Like, how would I want to receive the information I have to give them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to be talked down to. I don't want to be made foolish. You know, all these things. So I'm like, okay, if I don't want to feel that way, I definitely don't want to make nobody else feel that way.
100%. 100%. And you know, the funny thing is that we just talked about this in our last pod.
Yeah.
Offering constructive feedback.
Yeah.
Stuff they can build on, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See a lot of people that end up having these hard to have conversations, these tough conversations, and they're very destructive in those conversations. It's like, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this.
Right.
Man, what did I do right then?
What have I done?
Like,
right?
what exactly? Like, I just feel like I'm just getting beat up the whole time. Right?
Yeah.
So I made this I made this connection with a friend of mine that was going through a particular situation, and I was telling him, you know, constructive feedback can be very, very good. I said, but if you've always gotten negative feedback from somebody, I was like, think about it like this. It's almost like having a dog, and every time the dog gets up, you slap them on the nose every single time. They're not gonna get up anymore. Like they're not right. They're not gonna. They're gonna be very apprehensive to do anything. Right. So, like, if you're always beating somebody down, if you're always challenging somebody, if you're always going, you know, 0 to 100 on a person all the time, you might want to be evaluating your personal feelings toward that person on the side. But you can't expect that person to grow. You can't expect that person to get to where the level that they could get to if it's constant beratement.
Yeah. Again, that's just instilling more fear, more disappointment. You're taking that confidence away when you should be building it up. So absolutely 100%.
Again, providing that motivation and accountability. I think that also goes back to what we talked about before on being accountable, being self-aware. And I think you said it best. There's only so much that a mentor is going to be able to provide. They can challenge that person significantly to get to those heights, but the person's the one that's going to have to put the work in to get to that point, to get to that area where they feel confident enough to succeed.
Yeah, because there's a lot of external things coming, but at the end of the day, that confidence is going to truly be built from the inside. So you gotta do that self inner work. You gotta have that positive self-talk. You gotta take the nuggets that you're getting from these mentors, and then you gotta let it grow within you to come out.
100%. If we're gonna sum up confidence outside of this pod, how would you sum up confidence for our listeners out there?
I would say confidence is a belief and a strength that you can do more than you think you can. Yeah, it's a belief that you can do, a belief that you can. Yeah, confidence is a belief that you can.
In spite of. I always looked at it as confidence as it's your own personal inner power.
Yeah.
It's like you tapping into your own personal power at that point.
Absolutely.
And in order to get to your real true potential, you gotta do some work.
Yeah.
You gotta be accountable to your failures. You have to take actionable steps toward doing better.
Yes.
Changing the behavior.
Yes.
I got a really good a really good analogy for you when it comes to changing your behavior. Do you have an iPhone?
Yes.
You got an what model do you have?
14.
Oh, yeah, we are advanced. I too, sir, have an iPhone 14.
Yeah.
So I know when you got your new phone, it came with a charger, or it just came with the cord, right? You had to buy the box, the cord. They only give you the cord, right? The upcharge. So you have to buy the little box that comes with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with the older phones, with your other iPhone, before I got the 14, I had the 8 plus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice little jump there.
it's a huge jump. Had that phone for 6 years. So yeah, don't judge me. Don't judge me, fans. But no, when I got the upgrade, again, you had all these same chargers. I had all the 47. That's what the phone for 6 years. So I had like 47 chargers, bro.
Yeah.
Like you have charge for the car, a charger in every room, right?
Yeah.
But the habit is go to the charger and plug up to the charger.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a newer phone, you got an upgrade, charging up to those other chargers takes a lot longer to get to 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found is that what we tend to do out of habit is to go to these old charging stations, to go to those older places where you got your charge at one point in time.
Man.
And what people need to start understanding is as you upgrade, as you start to grow, as you start to progress, some of those older chargers, some of those older things that poured into you are probably not ideal for you to pour into anymore. Or you're not going to get the same sufficient charge that you may need. So put the work in and go find that box, go find that C charger, and go plug into the correct port so you can get the correct charge that you actually need.
That means the more you level up, the more your charge has to be leveled up.
Straight up. Or the more accessories you got to buy.
That's work.
That's work, sir. And that's what it's about. That right there is what it's about. It's about putting in that additional work.
Yeah.
And if you aren't willing to put that additional work in, you kind of can't be mad about the outcome.
Nah, not at all. Did it to yourself.
Again, it's a journey, right?
Yeah.
And in order to, oh man, you hit the nail on the head, sir. It is a journey. And in order for you to enjoy the journey, you must trust the process.
Got to. I hate it, but you got to.
Man, this was a good one, bro. I think this was, I feel inspired. I'm gonna go build a boat right now or something.
Gonna put some animals on it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
sure,
right.
Sure.
Steven's Ark.
I got it right, man. I got a we have a new family member that will be joining us very soon. No, the wife is not pregnant.
Okay, I was about to say how many legs? Is it 2 or is it 4?
Yeah, definitely 4, bro. Definitely 4. So that's gonna be a new exciting journey. I'm excited about that because it's going to give the kids an opportunity to grow.
Yeah, some responsibility.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, sir. Closing words before we get out of here.
Man, I think you summed it up pretty nicely, man. You got to properly charge from the right devices, from the right people. Yeah.
Sometimes it's needed.
It's needed, man. Believe. Yeah. Do the work.
You're going to understand that we're going to probably have a common theme through most of our pods. Like very strung together purposely.
Oh, yeah. Like a chain link.
That's just like a chain, like a circle. A circle.
It's all tied together, baby.
All tied together. Please like and subscribe if you want to hear more from your coach life brethren. Again, this has been a very fun one. Always a pleasure, sir.
Always. Appreciate you.
Again, please like and subscribe if you want to hear more. Hit that bell so that you know when we drop a new episode. Bing. Again, if you would be so kind to leave us a comment on any other pods you would like to hear us
go back and listen to the old ones.
Yeah, go listen to the old ones. Go listen to the old ones. Go back and replant some of them seeds. do some digging for yourself.
Dig up a little bit.
There you go. Do some digging for yourself. As always, from Coach Ryan, Coach Steve, and of course, the Coach Life brand. Stay positive, my friends.